The chair recognizes the chairman of the committee, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Canapero, what was the number? How many crimes? It was like 5,000. You had some number?
In the U.S. Code, we, with reliable certainty, estimated 5,199, but that's only the code.
That's only the code. So how many crimes are out there that aren't created by Congress but are created by the agencies?
We don't know for sure, but the number is almost certainly around between 300,000 and 400,000.
Patriots, welcome back to the channel. If you still believe in freedom, personal responsibility, and the rule of law by the people, not by unelected bureaucrats, then buckle up, because today we're diving into a recent House Judiciary hearing that should absolutely shake you to your core. Now I know most people won't take the time to watch these hearings. They're long, they're full of legal jargon, and most of the media won't cover them honestly. But what happened in this one, what Jim Jordan exposed, ought to be front-page news. Let's break it down. Jim Jordan opened with a bombshell. There are 5,199 criminal offenses that Congress has explicitly written into law. Okay, but guess what? That's only the tip of the iceberg.
So Americans can be charged with all kinds of crimes that they don't even know exist, that they don't even know they broke, that were created by people they didn't elect. That's the situation we're in.
Correct.
Such a deal, right? Such a deal for Americans. This is how ridiculous it is. I'll give you a real life example. The ATF, out of thin air, said something that they had even said was legal, that had always been legal, said we're going to now say pistol braces are illegal, and if you don't get rid of it, turn it in, destroy it, whatever, your property, if you don't do that, even though we told you it was fine years ago, even though there's nothing in the law that says it's a crime, you're going to be a felon. It's crazy. So this, I want to thank the chairman for bringing this together. I mean, you cannot create talk about lack of respect for the citizens of this country. They don't even get a say in the people they elect on most of this stuff that they can get charged with, which is crazy. How does that fit with our constitutional system, Professor Turley? I'll let you and Mr. Tolman talk a little here too. And we appreciate you all being here.
Well, it goes to what I mentioned earlier, that the danger of overcriminalization is it can change what being a citizen is. If everyone is potentially criminal in conduct that they engage in every day, it changes the relationship to the government. And by the way, it also has an impact on how people view real crime. So if everyone is a presumptive felon, if everyone is a mattress tag puller, if everyone can be charged with the discretion of a prosecutor for things that most people do, then you lose the stigma, the clarity for the real crimes. And that includes things like shoplifting. That is, you see the sort of casual attitude towards law breaking, but the government can be a terrible teacher in that respect by treating everything as potentially criminal, and then nothing's really criminal. It's just basically the government can either bring you into the criminal justice system or not based upon a whim or discretion. That has an enormously corrosive impact on the meaning of being a citizen, the relationship of individuals to their state.
Yeah, it diminishes respect for the law in general, and may lead to less prosecution of real crime, which Mr. Kiley just talked about. And then the thing that scares me, as much as both of those, is it encourages, I think, the weaponization of the government against people they don't like or who have a different political philosophy. And we have seen all three of those things in the last few years, which is, again, frightening and why this hearing is so important. Mr. Tolman, I'll go to you.
And one thing to keep in mind about the 300,000 plus regulations that have criminal penalties, almost all of those are white-collar crime. So you're targeting you have the largest section of your criminal laws are actually targeting those that most likely have no criminal intent. And that's why we're seeing such ability of prosecutors without any proper accountability to use that against everyday citizens that don't have criminal intent.
So back to the mens rea for at least that.
Or at least that.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'll give the Democrat witness, which I normally don't do in hearings like this. I'll let you say something if you want, Mr. Fox.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you know, the whole idea is you have to actually intend to commit a crime. Just doing something, you know, thinking you're trying to help someone, like saving a bunch of sharks from poachers. Or there's another case where it was a man who was hiking on a mountain. He was a professional runner went up what, unbeknownst to him, was a closed trail that had 2 tiny little signs. Now he's battling federal charges. There's another case, Lesh versus United States, it's pending in front of the Supreme Court, which was a snowmobiler who was charged for taking pictures advertising his business, which is not what he was doing, but that's what they allege, while he was on federal land. And in a case like that, because the max penalty is 6 months in jail, according to the Supreme Court, despite that there's no textual basis in the Constitution or historical basis at all, he doesn't even get a right to a jury trial at all. So this is just government, like, you did something you didn't know was a crime, now you're guilty. And not only that, but of course, Congress never even passed these laws.
It's been one thing to shake him down, but they're going to shake him down and put him in jail potentially. It's crazy. Mr. Chairman, thank you for this good hearing. I yield back.
Thank you.
What he revealed next should infuriate every American citizen. There are as many as 400,000 additional criminal regulations made not by Congress, not by your elected officials, but by unelected bureaucrats in the swamp. That's right. Agencies run by faceless D.C. officials are creating rules that carry criminal penalties. You can go to jail for breaking them even if you didn't know they existed. Where's that in the Constitution? Let me ask you, my fellow patriots, what kind of government do we live under when you can be made into a felon overnight by a rule you had no say in? This isn't democracy. It's not even law and order. This is tyranny by regulation. And let's talk about a perfect example Jordan gave. The ATF, yes, the same agency that's been all over the map, suddenly decides that pistol braces, which they previously approved, are now illegal. Just imagine that. You bought a legal accessory, followed all the rules, and now they say, asterisk, turn it in or become a felon. This is not how laws should work in America. Then you have Professor Turley, liberal law professor, mind you, sounding the alarm on what he calls overcriminalization. And he's right. When government treats everyone like a criminal, what happens? Nobody respects the law anymore. You blur the lines between real crime and some obscure infraction of bureaucratic red tape. We've seen it with shoplifting being ignored while law-abiding citizens are punished for regulatory nonsense. And you know what that does? It teaches people that justice is arbitrary. And let me tell you the most chilling part. This system is ripe for abuse. When the government can create crimes out of thin air, they can go after anyone they want. You get the wrong administration in power, and suddenly your political beliefs make you a target. We've seen it happen. You post the wrong meme. You attend the wrong rally. You disagree with the regime. And boom, some dusty federal rule gets dragged out of shadows to crush you. That, my friends, is not freedom. That is weaponized government. Former prosecutor Brett Tolman reminded us that most of these 300,000+ crimes are targeting white-collar Americans, not hardened criminals. And many of these folks had no criminal intent. But intent doesn't matter anymore in the eyes of the bureaucracy. Even the Democrat witness, Mr. Fox, agreed. He gave examples of real people facing federal charges for things like hiking a trail with bad signage or posting pictures on federal land. These aren't mob bosses or drug dealers. These are Americans who made honest mistakes or did something totally innocent. And guess what? They don't even get a jury trial in many cases. That's right, no jury of your peers. Just charges and penalties handed down like we're living in some administrative police state. Friends, this is exactly why our founders insisted that only Congress, your elected representatives, can write criminal laws. Not the ATF, not the EPA, not the Department of whatever. But somewhere along the way, we forgot that. We handed power to the unelected, and now we're reaping the consequences. If we don't stand up now, if we don't demand reform, we will wake up in an America that only looks free, but functions like an authoritarian bureaucracy. That's not hyperbole. That's reality. Just ask the rancher, the gun owner, the small business owner who's already living on the thumb of it. So here's what we do. We support leaders like Jim Jordan who are fighting to rein in these rogue agencies. We demand that Congress take back its constitutional duty to write the laws and strip away these bloated powers from federal agencies. And we stay informed because knowledge is power, and right now, too many Americans are sleepwalking into soft tyranny. If you believe in the Constitution, in limited government, in freedom under law, not bureaucratic rule, then this is your fight. Make your voice heard. Share this video. Comment below. Let's take our country back one regulation at a time. United States, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.